Did you see this Bitcoin clip?
I did not. Let's
Down
do
the
it.
end of the sheet.
It was from a few months ago, though, right?
Yeah, so I'll preface
it's-
this saying, this is from a few months ago on Draymond Green's podcast. And I'll just say this first, that we had Wosny Lambre on Left Reckoning to talk about the player empowerment era on the NBA. And if I could have done that interview again, I would have asked about Draymond and JJ Redick particularly, starting their own shows and talking about Draymond's literally talking about the series as he's playing it. And I think it's the most interesting interviews you get from any sort of NBA players, is them talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that to say, like, I love Draymond and I love Andre Iguodala here too. That said, he gives some advice here about Bitcoin, which is pretty big in NBA circles. Like, a lot of my favorite players are in either.
And I'll speak to the NFL.
Yeah.
It's very, very ubiquitous.
Yeah, and
in
all
NFL.
like Tom Brady's in crypto ads, Steph Curry's in
Odell
crypto
took
ads.
it. It was
Odell's,
took his entire salary in Bitcoin last year.
Creative Arts,
love him, but
Creative Arts Agency, the talent agency, is responsible for getting a lot of celebrities and athletes in on this because it's a way to commodify attention, potentially. But so a lot of these players have like done these things, like take their salary or a portion of their salary in crypto and invest in like different types of things like that.
Yeah.
And Andre Iguodala is one of those. Draymond, you'll hear at the start of this clip, didn't do that and is a little like sort of like he says he's still trying to figure out, learn about it a little bit more before he dives in.
Yeah.
And here's this, and Iguodala says kind of, I think, a pretty unfortunate thing that made him sort of believe in NFTs even more was getting robbed for $25,000.
And if you guys, Bender and Brent, I don't exactly know if you are familiar with these two guys. Draymond Green is on the left and Andre Iguodala is on the right. They both play for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, and I just felt bad because I said idiot about, like, I just meant that like kind of flippantly. Because
like the thing here is Iguodala makes a point here that, like, we're basketball players, we're like at the top of our game and we're used to being able to like go into a field and be competent there.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is when you're promoting a field where there's a lot of sharks looking to take advantage of people.
Yes, and these agencies know that these players have a short period of time to capitalize on their talents and commodify themselves, and they are using crypto and NFTs as a way to like get to sell that to these players, and it's going to hurt them in the long run. I want these players to have as much money as possible when they leave their profession.
Yeah, we'll watch this in a sec though, but Iguodala says like it's like what we watch so much film, so we're like we're studious, but it's like film isn't speculative like Bitcoin is.
Right? Yeah.
It is what it is, and you live and you learn. And that's kind of where I am in the space, is just continuing to learn, trying to get more active in the space, but also I want to thoroughly understand it before I just get super active into it, and so that's what I've been trying to do. But no, go ahead.
The funny thing is, the best thing that happened to me is my account got hacked. I got robbed. Like, it's funny that it happened like that, but so if you click like warning for everybody, don't click on anything in Discord. Like, don't click anything like in terms of like links, right? So I'm just trying to learn. You know how we are, like we know how to work hard. We watch hours and hours of film. So it's nothing to us to study. Like, it's easy for us to pick up on stuff. That's why people say like, like athletes, we could transition to different places because like we just learn how to work hard and, obtain information. So I'm just learning, clicking on stuff, and I clicked on the wrong thing. Somebody got access to my account, and then I accidentally screenshot my passwords to my wallet, and then they go in my cloud, got that too, boom, take my stuff, right? But that right there, I ended up losing like 25,000, but I talked to somebody in the community showed up for me and showed me how to get everything back. I would get everything back to square, whatever. I still lost, but he was like, think about it as you just went to school and you just got your degree in NFTs. And I was like, wow. Because now I'm able to teach other people, do this, do that, move like this, move like that. All right, watch out for this, watch out for that. Even with like some of the projects that aren't that good, I got some projects that's like, I wouldn't have did that if I could do it again. But now I just give it the same information to other people. So I say the best thing to do is just buy one thing and just like watch it. That experience alone will teach you so much than, one person can tell you.
I mean, it's just like working backwards from the religious like indoctrination into crypto, and like why that's such a one, I love both those guys as players, and it's a bummer to hear that being spoken about like that in the same way. I love Odell Beckham, and I don't love Tom Brady, but he's also in crypto. But like someone like Tom Brady, like what is interesting about these, first of all, I'm on bitcoin.com, $1.3 billion in crypto stolen in Q1 of 2022. And more of this kind of stuff is going to happen. And Binder, you can shed light on this even more than me, but just in terms of athletes, like why I find the agencies pushing this kind of stuff onto them so, insulting, is because of the nature of labor in major sports. These athletes are the ones making all the money. They're the ones that people come to see, and their salaries are significantly hampered all the time. And they have a small period of time to make their money by capitalist owners who try all they can to use them as figureheads for their organization, but not really give them any of the means of production and keep their salaries down. And it's a much bigger issue in the NFL, in my opinion. But when that happens, it makes athletes who are trying to capitalize on this very small period of their life to set themselves up and their families up for the rest of their lives. That's why this is predatory. And that's why this is so messed up.
Well, look at a team like the Los Angeles Lakers in that history. So you have these players like in the 80s, Magic, Kareem, all these guys, Michael Cooper, tons of guys, creating this dynasty that makes Los Angeles Lakers, I guess it was semi-famous beforehand, but like a household a brand. Kobe and Shaq do the same thing, but who actually is maintaining the valuation of that, who's actually accruing that value, is the Buss family.
Yep.
Like these freaks that just happen to own it because they had money at the right time. And I mean, the thing I also wanted to circle back and let Brandon and Binder go, but when he says, like, I talked to some people in the community, they helped me get back to square, not get everything back per se, but and then like it's going to college for NFTs. Well, any sort of NFT community is going to be way more motivated to help out somebody like Andre Iguodala get their stuff back because they have a giant platform that they could bash NFTs with and say it's actually a scam. So they're definitely going to bend over backwards to try to make him feel good about that happening. But most people don't have...
It's a learning experience.
Yeah, but most people don't have $25,000 to just blow on, that sort of college, I guess.
And a lot of athletes don't, too. Iguodala and Draymond have had a lot of success, but there are smaller scale, like professional athletes, average NFL careers like 3 years.
Spencer did
who are going to make not a lot of money, and they're going to get scammed.
Binder, can you talk a little bit about the Sam Hoadley-Brill interview at some point, the yield farming thing with Joe Weisenthal?
Right, the one
just
in
how that dovetails a little bit into this, just because go ahead. Obviously,
yeah.
I just wanted you to talk about that a little bit also.
I mean, and it's to distill it completely, if without getting too far, like gone into this, is, he literally described yield farming as a Ponzi scheme live. Well, it wasn't live, but on, in an interview with Bloomberg. Basically just explained exactly what a Ponzi scam is and said that's, without saying the word Ponzi, obviously. And then that was his explanation of yield farming, which is basically this, you use your crypto holdings and you hold on to it, and you basically get to turn it magically into more money. And you got the people at Bloomberg over there. They pause and they say to him, you basically just described the Ponzi scheme. And he tried to go back a bit and try to say, it's not really, but it was a Ponzi scheme that he explained. In terms of what I heard here, first of all, I've never heard that athletes are particularly good at, just studying and taking in information, and that's why they're so good at everything. I mean, you explained a number of different examples where this is, this time where professional athletes are playing professionally is a very small window for them to establish their careers. And after that, if they don't do it, the vast majority of athletes end up in very bad shape. Well,
they describe it as like they have to leave their sport as like a major death in the family, or like a death of, it's the end of their career and they're 30.
Right. So I don't know what he's talking about in terms of, it seems like he wasn't particularly good at studying on NFTs because he got scammed. I mean, Matt said it perfectly that $25,000 loss is a lesson learned. I mean, it sort of just shows the position that this guy is in, where he has $25,000 to blow on taking part in the crypto. In terms of what he got back, I don't think he got back anything. I think that was his way of saying, they helped me secure my wallet and make sure this wouldn't happen to me again. That's how I took what he said. I don't think, maybe a few guys donated some money to him to help him, restart his crypto investments, but no way did he get anything close to 25. He certainly didn't get back exactly what he lost. If he lost specific NFTs, he didn't get those NFTs back. But it made me think, a few weeks ago, I had Ryan Broderick on Scam Economy, and he went to, he's the writer of the Garbage Day newsletter. And he went to the Bitcoin Miami 2022 conference a few weeks ago. And he told me, and he wrote about it too, he told me about a particular panel he saw with, it featured Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr., and Serena Williams talking about crypto. And in his write-up, and when he was on the show, he told me how, all three of them agreed that Bitcoin was the future. And they were talking about how they thought it was a good long-term investment and it gave them more financial freedom. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading this and he's telling me about it. And I'm thinking to myself, this has nothing. These three hugely famous, extremely wealthy professional athletes, they don't have financial freedom because of Bitcoin or crypto. They have financial freedom because they're hugely successful professional athletes. It's like, what's going on here? How are they
compensated?
Yeah.
Yes, they have money to blow on this, and they have the financial freedom to blow the money on it. This isn't a chicken or the egg scenario. They need that money first. The Bitcoin has nothing to do with that. If any of these guys have switched over, and I think Andre, the guy, what was his name?
Iguodala.
I think he's one of those guys who is taking his salary in Bitcoin, right? He's one of those types.
Yep.
Depending on when that started, it looks like January. He's not making as much. He lost a lot of money on that too. Again, he's got money to lose to do that.
Yeah, and I mean that is the thing that sucks is like, I mean, I admire those two guys, and I can only imagine but luckily I'm very skeptical of this sort of speculative asset. But like, if I didn't, and I had money to burn, and I'm like, well, this is more responsible than doing another like sort of safer investment. I'm gonna do some kind of ape because Mila Kunis is in on it. Like, yeah, I mean, and you're expecting you're going to be able to resell that 5 years for a appreciative value. You've been conned.
Right. That's the thing. Like, if these guys want to waste their money and lose their money and throw their money around or whatever, I don't really care. But they are hugely influential to people who they're fans, people who look up to them. And they're promoting this to them. Like they're promoting it in a way that you don't ever see anyone in the mainstream promote any other investments. Like if you saw these guys just regularly talking about what stocks you should buy, you'd be like, what the fuck's going on here? What is happening? But for some reason, they think it's fine to just openly promote crypto and specific projects at that. You have Jimmy Fallon being handed free NFTs, recently changing his Twitter profile to that NFT to promote it, not disclosing that he was given it for free. The guy who gave it for free, the founder of Dig, that's his NFT project. He didn't disclose it until someone from BuzzFeed said, hey, what's going on here? Did Jimmy Fallon buy this from you? And then he ended up disclosing, oh, we had like an influencer program and certain people who hit certain metrics for us, we reached out to and we ended up giving it to them for free or working out some deal where they didn't have to pay for it in exchange for something. They did not disclose that at all. Like, what is it? This would be illegal if it was anything else. And they think because they're hiding under technology and not the financial instrument that this shit actually is, that they're able to get away with it. And you know what? the sad part is they probably will. And by the time the law catches up to them, they'll have already made their money, and whatever fine they receive or punishment they have to deal with is going to be a slap on the wrist based on, compared to, I should say, how many times they were able to do this before it caught up with them and able to double, triple, quadruple their earnings.
Yeah, great point. I just wanted to jump in real quick because what struck me about the clip was just how well it exemplifies the myth of the rational consumer model that like upholds a large portion of our failed institutions and our failed infrastructure by presuming that people who, from every walk of life have the innate ability to discern like a good deal or a good product or a good service from a bad service with no sort of expertise in that field or any assistance from regulators or whatever. And then the sad truth about the crypto game, the more I learn about NFTs, is that there really isn't any way through research or any sort of like learning to distinguish a product that's a scam from a product that is not a scam. Like,
everyone who's had major success in crypto is inside trading. Yeah. I'm telling you, right? Like they were told that, hey, we have so-and-so, we've hired the celebrity, we've got these influencers. So it's Mayweather's going to promote this, and Floyd Mayweather's already been outed for promoting a number of crypto scams, a few with his name on it, that he's happily taken part in the rug pull of and doesn't even care. No surprise there, though, and if you know Floyd Mayweather, I guess. But this is like it's they're told in advance that there is something that the public doesn't know yet that's going to make this particular token or NFT project stand out. And they're going to let them, they're going to give them the freebie or get in at the absolute bottom level price. And then that's how they make their riches. It's time and time again, this is what's happened.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I think just from the average consumer model, but also the average consumer model, but the average user of the NFTs or average, ape consumer, they get to feel like their ego is being stroked by being one of a few like rational or hyper rational consumers who are navigating this NFT space. Even though like the more I like read all of their discords, the more they'll admit like, well, if this looks like a scam, then every NFT looks like a scam. And that's just like ultimately the case. It's a scam filled marketplace, and they've just for the most part, most of the people who engage in it have never engaged in any marketplace where there is so little regulation, where there's so little quality control or corruption control, and they just have nothing to really compare it to. Like, if your supermarket worked like an NFT marketplace did, every time you went into it, you'd have be taking like a 50% chance to get food poisoning everything you eat. But regulation, regulators, bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it, whatever, the institutions that are in charge of maintaining the quality of even the bare quality of certain goods in this country are often just times invisible until they fail. And so everyone, especially libertarians and the people who engage in NFTs, are allowed to pretend they just don't exist. That like the FDA, the CDC, that all of these places simply don't have any or rather the SEC too, simply have no bearing on like why their lives aren't as chaotic as they could be because they've never had to really deal with them. And then when they engage in the crypto marketplace, the absence of that kind of regulation it jars them. They have no idea like why things can be so frighteningly unsecure because they've never lived in that world. They just get to pretend like they do for the little portions of their day.
Yeah, you mentioned the SEC there. JFK's dad, Robert Joseph Kennedy, who
is he also still alive? According to
he's not still alive, and also not a very great guy, but he was put in charge of the SEC mainly because FDR knew that like he was basically a criminal and would have been able to go up against
JFK's father, the bootlegger.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so, but he famously cashed out prior to the Wall Street crash in the 1920s, and the reason he did that is because he said the shoeshine boy was giving him stock tips, and he's like, well, wait a second, if everyone is talking about this stuff, it means like there's a bubble. Yeah, it's seeking new markets. Everybody's seeking new, and it's going to crash immediately if these people are talking about it. And I think it's true about crypto too. If you see billboards 100%. Trying to get you into crypto, it's because they are very, very desperately trying to seek new dumb money to get into the system.
Masturbatory talk. Thank you, Brandon.
I just wanted to add, the some of the major players in crypto see what's around the corner though when it comes to regulation, and they're already getting buddy with a number of. I mean, this was a shocking tweet for me to see. Caroline Pham, the commissioner of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, she tweeted out a photo last week with the CEO of FTX, that one who described yield farming as a scam, as a Ponzi scheme. She tweets out a friendly photo hanging out with him. SBF, the CEO of FTX's hair is better than mine. And thanks for coming to talk to me today about crypto. Like, friendly tweets, hanging out with these guys. I mean, they know what they're doing. Maybe she doesn't understand what's going on, and she thinks that these guys are actually sitting down and being friendly with her. This is highly inappropriate for someone at her level to tweet out, which is probably why a couple of days later, when people noticed it, she deleted it. But they're really working hard on making sure that they get away with this scam for as long as possible.
Oh yeah.